proceed now to the next speaker, Srinivas Jammalamdaka, who has studied Nyaya and Tarka Shastra under Sri Ambadipudi Radheshyama Shastri and studied Advaita Vedanta under Sri Mani Dravida Shastrigal as well as Ganti Dattadre Murthy ji. He's completed his Tenali exams in Tarka Shastra. He has been awarded Tarka Ratnam as well. He currently teaches as an assistant professor in the School of Shastric Studies, Kavi Kulaguru Kalidas Sanskrit University in Ramtek in Maharashtra. Please take it away from here, Srinivas ji. We are 15 minutes behind schedule, so I request all speakers to make sure that we stick to the 20-minute schedules.
Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purana Nam Alayam Karunalayam Namavi Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakrito Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Indic Academy for giving me this opportunity, and I thank Nagaraj Paturi Garu and Mek sir for accepting my abstract and giving me an opportunity to present here. So my topic is applicability of Lakṣaṇa-lakṣaṇa with respect to Indian jurisprudence. So as a student of Nyaya Shastra, so every time whenever we see any sections or any jargon related to law, we find it very much interesting because we have a lot of similarities with the kind of approach that the law fraternity has. So here the word Lakṣana is in the sense of definition. So and Lakṣaṇa-lakṣaṇa means definition. So this is a very unique topic in all the Shad Darshanas, that this topic is very much unique to Nyaya Shastra. So wherein definitions are everywhere given, everywhere we go through definitions, but what are the qualities that a definition should have, and what could be the ideal definition of all definitions is what I would like to explore here. And at the same time, does this knowledge has any applicability in the current scenario? So these are the things. And before going further, I would like to just give a very short introduction wherein this particular concept fits into the Vidyasthana. So we have 4 Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. So all the 4 Purusharthas are agreed, accepted in all the 6 Astika Darshanas. So so the Moksha being the Parama Purushartha. So Artha, Kama bound by Dharma, which lead to Moksha, is the whole common approach of all the Vidyasthanas, Astika Vidyasthanas, we can say. So all the Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Purvamimamsa and Uttarmimamsa, which we call it as Mimamsa and Vedanta, they all are aimed at achieving moksha. Though the definition of moksha differs from darshana to darshana, and the path also differs there, and the main cause for moksha, at times it could be Viveka Khyati according to Sankhya and Yoga, it could be Padartha Tattva Jnana, it could be Atma Jnana, Brahma Jnana according to Vedanta. But the essential Purushartha, moksha, being the Parama Purushartha or the primary Purushartha, is the common attribute, common thing that is agreed upon in all the 6 darshanas. So coming to the Nyaya Darshana, so how do one can achieve moksha? That is Tattvajnanan Nishreyasadhigamaha. So there is the first Gautama Nyaya Sutra, which goes like Pramana, Prameya, Samshaya, Prayojana, and etc. In the end, it says that Tattvajnanan Nishreyasa Adhigamaha. So according to the Nyaya Sutras, Nyaya Darshana, the whole universe is divided or classified into 16 padarthas, like Pramana, Prameya, and etc. And the Tattvajnana or the valid knowledge of these 16 padarthas will lead to moksha. So this is the opening sutra, the first sutra of the Nyaya Darshana, which states the main goal of the whole Darshana. Then what is the process in achieve this valid knowledge, which will essentially lead to moksha? So then in the Nyaya Bhashya, Vatsyayana states that Trividhachasya Shastrasya Pravrittihi Uddeshaha Lakshanam Pariksha Cheti. So there are 3 steps in achieving this Padartha Tattva Jnana. So first one is Uddeshya, that is Namana Padartha Sankirtanam Uddeshaha. So this is what is said, that means stating the Padartha with its name. So we recognize each and every subject or object through its name. So that is the first step. And the second step is Lakshanam, that is knowing the Padartha through its definition or Lakshanam. So in this context, I am using the word Lakshanam as definition. So we will get to know the essential or the unique attribute of each and every Padartha through its Lakshanam. And the third step is Pariksha, which means examination. So after knowing something through Uddesha and Lakshanam, we examine whether it is true or not, because the valid knowledge itself will lead to moksha. So examining the validity of the knowledge of Padartha is what is done in the Pariksha. So even all the Nyaya Sutras are designed in such a way that first we have the Uddesha of all the Padarthas, then we have the Lakshanas for all the Padarthas, then we have the Pariksha Prakaranam of all the Padarthas. So this is how the 4 Adhyayas of Nyaya Sutras have been designed. So what is Lakshanam? So Lakshanam is a statement expressing the essential nature of something. This is what I took it from the contemporary dictionaries. What does the Shastra says? Shastra says asadharana dharmaha lakshanam. So a unique quality or attribute of anything can be called as lakshanam. So how many types of definitions are there? There are 2 types of definitions that are found. One is Swarupa Lakshanam and the second one is Tatastha Lakshanam. So what is a Swarupa Lakshanam? A Swarupa Lakshanam is the definition which is aimed at describing the definitum. So here the definitum means the thing which is being defined is called as a definitum. So the aimed at describing, the definition which is aimed only describing and not aimed at differentiating it, the definitum from the others is called as Swarupa Lakshanam. So it is something similar to a medicine which will tackle the inflammation in the body, is the medicine that has to be taken when you are having the problem called inflammation. So this is a kind of a definition, a Swarupa Lakshanam of a medicine. If I had to state a Tatastha Lakshanam of that particular medicine, then I may state that it could be paracetamol or etc. So that is the Tatastha Lakshanam. So what is the Tatastha Lakshanam? The definition which is aimed at differentiating the definitum from the others through unique qualities of the definitum is called as Tatastha Lakshanam. So what is the unique attribute which will differentiate that particular medicine is the name of the drug. So name of the drug is itself, it is the unique attribute of that particular drug and it differentiates it from the others. So these are the 2 types of Lakshanam, and this is Swarupa Lakshanam is very much famous in Vedanta, wherein we take Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma and etc. Where this Satya Swarupa, Jnana Swarupa and Ananda Swarupa is Parabrahma. So this is the Swarupa Lakshanam of Parabrahma, and at the same time we do have many Tatastha Lakshanams of Brahman. So in Tarka Sangraha Deepika, the elementary work of Nyaya Shastra, so there we find this, that etad dushanatraya rahitaha dharmaha lakshanam. So what is a lakshanam? A lakshanam is a unique attribute, and that attribute which does not has the 3 fallacies can be called as lakshanam. So this is one way of knowing what a perfect definition could be. So it is an attribute, a unique attribute of the definitum which does not has 3 fallacies of definition. So what are those 3 fallacies? Ativyapti, Avyapti and Asambhava. So Ativyapti means over application, Avyapti narrow application, and Asambhava non-application. So here, as the pictures themselves represent, that Ativyapti means a definition which actually covers the whole definitum, but it exceeds the limits of the definitum. Then it is called as Ativyapti. And Avyapti is a definition, an apparent definition which does not cover the, which does not cover the whole definitum area. That is called as Avyapti. And if a definition is not applicable to the definitum in any case, then that will be called as Asambhava. So a definition should not have any one of these fallacies. So if there is any one fallacy, then an effort should be done, should be employed to get rid of that particular fallacy. Then taking a small example, so if a definitum is cow, if I have to define cow, if I define an animal which has horns is cow, then we have this fallacy called ativyapti, because my definitum is cow, but having horns does cover the definitum area, but it even exceeds. Even other animals other than cows also have horns, so I cannot state that having horns, a creature which has horns is cow. And at the same time, if I state that an animal which is black in color is cow, so there may be black cows, but all the cows are not in black in color. So the definition is only applicable to one part of the definitum and not the whole spectrum of definitum is being covered. So there we have the fallacy called avyapti. And if I state that a creature which is having one hoof is the organ which is there in the foot of cow and other like horse and etc. So cows have two hoofs and horses have one hoof. So having one hoof, if I define a creature which has one hoof is cow, then it cannot be applied to any entity of the definitum, that is the cow. So hence these three cannot be the definition for a cow, because these have, each and every one has some or the other kind of a definitional fallacy. So what could be the perfect definition is having a dewlap. Dewlap means the sasna or the skin which actually is there in the area of the neck of the cow. So here this does not has any of the fallacies. This is the unique attribute for this particular animal. So it covers all the spectrum of the definitum. It does not exceed and it is applicable to the definitum. So in that case, it does not has all the three fallacies. Hence, it could be the perfect definition for a cow. So till now, we came to know what are the fallacies that a definition should not have. And what is the quality that a definition should have is the next thing which we have to cover. So again in Tarkasangraha Deepika we find this saeva asadharana dharma ityuchyate. Saeva, the same attribute which does not has the three definitional fallacies is called as asadharana dharma, and that can be the lakshana or the definition. So what is this asadharana dharma? What is this asadharanatva or the uniqueness of that particular attribute? So that is again defined. So this is called as the definition's definition. Lakshana, lakshanasya lakshanam, which we call it as, that is lakshyatavachedaka samaniyatattvam. So this is a very typical, very what you call nyaya paribhasha. I mean, it is a very jargon language that is being used here. So the quality or an attribute which has equal invariable concomitants with the definite term can be called as lakshyatavachedaka samaniyatattvam. To put it in very simple text, I could say if my definitum is a cow, then the cowness, or which we call it as a gotvam, wherever there is gotvam or cowness, there is this sasna or dewlap, and wherever there is this dewlap, there is this cowness. So this is what is called as samaniyatattvam or equal invariable concomitants. So here, this is another thing that we have to see whether the definition is having or not. So this is the definition's definition. Then coming to the application part of the whole concept of Lakṣaṇa-lakṣaṇa. So I've taken some examples. One of them is section 299 and 300 of IPC, which deal with murder and culpable homicide respectively. So if we see the wordings of the statutes or sections, we find that in the murder, in the section 300, an act by which the death is caused is done with the intention of causing death. I'm not going through the whole this thing. I've just taken some of the part which was relevant, I thought relevant for me. And in the culpable homicide section also, the same, I mean not the same, but a similar wording is being seen. that an act which with the intention of causing death, that can be called as culpable homicide. So here if we see, we cannot differentiate culpable homicide from murder based on the wordings of these sections. So that is why a lot of efforts go into differentiating these both, and many judgments and case laws are referred to and quoted, and then they come to a conclusion. At the end, they state that wherein the intention can be substantiated, then that can be called as murder, and wherein the intention cannot be substantiated, that can be called as culpable homicide. So if we actually go through the only the wordings, the summary would be something like an act that leads to death with the intention of causing death. You know, if I had to derive a definition of culpable homicide from the section, this is the gist of that particular section, and I can call it as a kind of a definition. Maybe I cannot use the word definition here, but if I had to describe what a culpable homicide would be, that could be an act that leads to death with the intention of causing death. If this is my definition and my definite term is culpable homicide, this has a fallacy called ativyapti or over application, because this even can be even applied in the case of murder also. So we have a fallacy in here, and hence we refer to many judgments and etc. And at the end, they come to this conclusion that wherein there is no intention, that will become culpable homicide. Wherein there is intention, that becomes murder. So at the end, they are trying to evade this over application fallacy by maybe subtracting some of the parts of the section, maybe here the intention part, so that this is even done in the other definitions in the shastras also. And so if we see here, if the definition of culpable homicide is same as murder, then the definition of culpable homicide has the over application fallacy. The reason for the confusion is the word intention mentioned in both the acts. So the acts do not directly differentiate one from the another, which actually is against the formulation of two different acts. The conclusion of differentiation is based on one important factor, that is intention. So therefore, an act with the intention of causing the death which shall lead to death is murder, and an act that leads to death wherein the intention cannot be established is called as culpable homicide. So these are the what you call the things from the whatever I've seen in the net. I got this kind of a interpretation for both. And coming to the second example.
2 minutes, Srinivas.
Oh, fine. The second one is definition of fact from the Evidence Act, that is anything, state of things, and etc. So here actually the word anything itself is enough to define what a fact is. All the other state of things or relation of things capable of being perceived by senses and etc. do not actually serve any purpose in eradicating the fallacies of any definition. Hence, from the Shastric perspective, we may say that anything is the Tatastha Lakshana of the fact, and the rest of the sentence is the Swarupa Lakshanam of what a fact is. And then coming to section 34 of IPC, which deals with the common intention. So actually a common intention, I'll not go in detail, but there was a recent judgment by the Calcutta High Court, wherein they actually added 3 prerequisites to define what where a common intention can be applied. That is a pre-consent, presence, and participation in the act actually. So here, by giving these 3 prerequisites, it is moreover like they want to evade the ativyapti, the over application fallacy, because the common intent can be applied to many people who are directly or indirectly connected to the act. So this actually constrains or restricts the spectrum of the particular act. So that is one thing. And the last one would be perfect what you call an example for the definition is section 391 of IPC, wherein the dacoity, wherein they say that when 5 or more people commit or attempt a robbery, then that can be called as dacoity. So here the usage of the 5 or more persons, this adjective actually differentiates dacoity from robbery. So here also this is what an example of a perfect definition according to me. So this is what I wanted to perform. I wanted to state. And yadatra saushthavam kinchit tad guroreva me nahi, yadatra asaushthavam kinchit tan mamayeva name guru. So if there is any virtue that belongs to my guru and not me, and if there is any shortcoming in my presentation, that is only because of myself and not my gurus. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Srinivas.